Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about the Ego ebike Q&A. So a lot of questions people usually ask. So this is the Ego 56 volt batteries, kind of most popular brand. When you use this battery for your e-bike, the biggest advantage is it's more flexible. So this is from 2.5 amp hour to 10 amp hour. So right now this is 7.5 amp hour. So this is the 7.5 amp hour. Okay, and I use my adapters, and I put two adapters so I can carry two batteries. If you travel someplace, you're not really sure if one battery is enough or not, and you can always carry two batteries. One battery goes in, another battery goes out. You definitely know, so you have enough battery to come back. Okay, back onto the Q&A. So most common question is what's the mileage you can get from the batteries. Basically 1 amp hour equal roughly 3 miles on the city street. If you ride on the grass, snow, something like that, 1 amp hour will be equal 1 mile. So this is the 7.5 amp hour batteries. So if I ride on the city street, so it's roughly 22 miles, roughly 22 miles in the range. If I ride on off-road, that's pretty much 7 miles in the range. So when you think about the e-bike, usually the manufacturing mark, like they can give you 20 miles, 30 miles, some in that range. Usually those are count on the perfect condition. It's not the real condition. So in the real way, in the real condition, you pretty much only can get half of them. So if they say the one battery can give you a 30 mile in the range, more likely it's only 15 mile in the range. So just remember this, and I'm talking the real mileage. So on the city street, so 1 amp hour pretty much equal 3 miles. Of course they're different factory as well. If it's a heavy rider, that will be less. If it's also it depends on your bag. You use 26 inch the tire, that probably give you more mileage. The bigger tire definitely can ride more faster on longer range. But generally speaking, yeah, one amp hour pretty much equal 3 miles on the city street. Okay, that's the first common question. A second question most people ask is how can you protect the battery to have low voltage cutoff. Those function, it's really depend on your controller. So if you use some high-end controller, you can program those. You can actually set up from your controller. But if you use pretty cheap controller, usually they don't have such function. For me, this is a pretty cheap controller. I have to say. For me, what I do is I add a voltage meter right here. You see this? So this is a voltage meter. So basically, I have on off. You can just add those voltage meter whenever you see the voltage drop below like 46 volt. For the Ego battery, If it's below 46 volt, you should stop or change the battery. Usually you see the e-bike on the market, I mean for the cheaper one, they usually have add a lot of stuff on the battery, on your bags. They add highlight, they add many things on the e-bike. I don't know why. I mean, I like more simply fit on your back. I mean, you want the more look like a bicycle, not really a e-bike. I think that way is more better. Because if you go to a professional bicycle store, when you see the e-bike they sell in those stores, I mean, they usually just look like a bicycle. They don't really look like a e-bike. So they don't really add any fancy stuff on the back. They even put the battery inside of the frame. So pretty much all the high-end e-bike, it just look like a bicycle. You don't really notice that's a e-bike. So, and all the cheaper e-bike that you can find on Amazon, they usually put a lot of extra stuff on there. I mean, it's just adding a weight. You don't, I don't really like to add that much weight. So for my setup, you can see it's so simple. There's a battery and adapter and controller. It's only controlled by one throttle. That's it. I did not add anything else. So on the throttle there have on and off switch, and also have voltage meter. I think that's all I need. And this controller, there's no actual wires. I take them all out. You can see there's no actual wires in there. You can see pretty clear right this side. So I only linked the wire that I need, and I do a little 3D printer to cover it. So there's no actual wires right here. So I want to make everything as simple as possible. And so for the whole things, you don't really add that much weight. See the motor. This is the Bafang hub motor that I talked before. This is a 750 watt hub motor. So the motor roughly about 10 pounds. I think it's less than 10 pounds, but roughly about there. And then the controller maybe a 1 pound. Yeah, that's pretty much, I think probably less than 1 pound. So you can see the whole system, you pretty much only add roughly about 10 pounds on your bicycle. And that's pretty lightweight. And another weight is your battery. Like I said, when you use power tool batteries, you have much flexibility to carry with the weight. Like this is a 7.5 amp hour battery, so that's quite heavy actually. And if you just for fun, you can just use that the 2.5 amp hour battery. I mean, that's the standard setting for the Eagle power tools. And you think about 2.5 amp hour, you still can get roughly around 9 miles, no, 8 miles. Yeah, roughly around 8 miles, 7 miles. Okay. Yeah, just say 7 miles. Okay. I mean, for the 7 miles, I mean, it's enough for your grocery shopping. Found a little field like this right now, because I usually goes through that field just flying my FPV drones. I can show you there. And what I do is I go here and then fly my FPV drones. That's what I do. This is a DJI digital goggle. So this is a pretty much game changer. So with the analog goggle, I mean, on your eye, whatever you see is kind of noisy, a lot of noisy. And this is crystal clear. And for the many years I did not keep flying the drone because the image is just not getting there. And this is a game changer. And this right now, so that's my big hobby right now. I mean, whenever I got some time, I just found a little playground and fly the drone. So you can say the e-bike, I mean, for me, it's just for fun. I don't really use this as a commute. If you really use e-bike to the commute, you definitely need to consider the battery. I mean, what's the range of the battery? Use a powerful battery. Like I said, you can carry 2 batteries, so or even more batteries. So that's more flexible for the weight, because I don't really like to carry the heavy bike, especially on the trail. I mean, there are many places you cannot really just ride over. I mean, there are a lot of places you may need to carry over. So think about if you have super heavy e-bike, that'll be tough. Like another day, I was crossing a little creek. It's not really deep, but there have couple of stone and blocks put on that creek, so you can step over. So in that situation, you cannot really ride the bike over, unless you're professional can do that kind of tricks. I can't really do that, so I have to carry the bike, go over. Think about if you have a e-bike are super heavy. I mean, normally the cheaper e-bike you found on the Amazon, normally they're over 80 pounds. And this bike, you think about this frame, without my eye on, the original bike, I think roughly about 40 to 50 pounds. And then I add the motor package and controller, that's 10 pounds. And this battery, I think, so this battery roughly about 4 pounds something. Yeah, you can get an idea. I mean, it's much more flexible on the weight. Usually you can save a lot of weight by buy the cheaper e-bike other than build on your own. Yeah, more likely you're gonna save some weight, and it's much more flexible as well. Okay, yeah, that's kind of today's topic. If you have any question, just leave me a comment. I definitely will get back to you. Thank you.